Warning, the following communications are not authorized. Please disable your signals and report to your local re-education center immediately. Failure to comply will result in immediate reprimand and capital punishment.
Hello, hello, hello. Maybe I shouldn't do that every single time.
Yeah, the quartet, the duet.
Exactly. Barbershop quartet. Check out my new thing behind me.
I know you got a little artwork. Oh, dude, I gotta get one of those hats, bro. Those in the
right. No, those are self-made. I'm a self-made millionaire. Buying my own merch.
I gotta get one of those, dude. I gotta work on some merch myself, actually. I gotta work on that.
You've got a book. That's kind of merch.
True. And how I'm so sorry. How did I leave it all the way over here? Obviously,
the book.
I keep it with me at all times. A step up from the original, right? The original first draft here. Second draft. Almost finished. So soon.
Soon. Let's jump into it. Your girl, AOC, making a fool of herself.
Again.
In more ways than one. So you want to just let everybody know, you seem to be more all over this than I am. I just saw that she lied.
Yeah, well, of course she lied. That's obviously par for the course. Even some of the mainstream news media, I think even CNN is saying that she exaggerated. Jack Posobiec is the man, I guess, responsible for calling her out and mapping out the what DC and Capitol Hill actually looks like. But to make it worse, she said that the events of January 6th, I'll say, reminded her or were traumatizing to her because she was a victim of sexual assault. Of course, she won't name her attacker because a lot of there's like layers of lies on this, right? So first she said she almost died. She blamed Ted Cruz for trying to have her assassinated or whatever hyperbole she was talking about. Then she said that she went on Instagram Live, which for the record I'm not able to do, but that's another story. She said that she told this dramatic story about how she was hiding in the bathroom. And then she went on to say how the events of the 6th reminded her of how she was assaulted. And of course, when Jack Posobiec, I believe, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, somebody in the comments I'm sure can, but when she was called out by Jack Posobiec, that's when she reverted to saying that it reminded her of her assault. Because at that point, all conversation is now shut down, right? I mean, that after that's the end of the conversation. I don't even know what we can and can't say. But as soon as she starts talking about her episode, that immediately will end the conversation. So that's why I believe she did that. Of course, she might have also been sort of floating off into obscurity without, Trump as her scapegoat. Nobody was really talking about her, but we sure are now.
Indeed, and let's make sure that we're getting enough volume out of you, young man. Look at this. So scream at the top of your lungs. I don't know if you live alone or not, but here's AOC with what the hell is with her face mask. First of all, I don't know what this is.
By design.
But let's see if we can zoom in on this. Apparently not. So basically, they're saying this is where her office is, and then the Capitol building is here. Now you were there. From what I understand, the people were going in the front, and then they crawled up around the sides, and some people even tried to go in the back. This is probably a couple kilometers away. So the idea that she was in any sort of danger is just, I think, has to be completely untrue, doesn't it?
100%. And I'm not convinced that the politicians that were in the Capitol were in any danger.
Well, they left through their underground subway system pretty quickly, I feel like.
But the thing is, I truly believe that I don't believe, I should say, that anybody that went in there was gonna, physically harm these politicians. I really don't believe that.
I feel like people who were there said that some people had said that. Elijah Schaffer said that he heard people say that they wanted to do that.
Okay, well, I didn't, I can't testify to it. The vibe that I got was, of course, air quote, mostly peaceful. I don't know, where am I? But I just don't think that the patriots, the Trump supporters that were there that day, were really going in there to. I mean, what were they going to do? Tar and feather her? I mean, what?
She is a professional victim now, and I mentioned the other day that since she lost her speechwriter, policy writer guy, she has had zero ideas. She just keeps making a fool of herself. So this is how she stays relevant. All I can think of with folks like her dishonestly claiming that survivors are exaggerating are the stories of veterans and survivors in my community deny themselves the care and need because they internalize voices like hers. Like, shut up, AOC. Like, you just got caught being an idiot and you can't take it. So there's so many memes about her. Scroll past David Hogg, and here's a nice little meme of him poking holes in her story.
It's an absolute joke. And what is she hoping to gain from this? Is this about impeachment, or is this just about Twitter likes? Is this just about, gaining more followers? Is this just about notoriety? What was she hoping to gain from this? What was the end goal?
She's a teenage girl who's in Congress, essentially. I'm 2 doors down from AOC, says Nancy Mace, who is a congresswoman as well. No insurrection has stormed our hallway. It's true because it's very far away from the whatever you want to call it, the insurrection that happened.
Yeah.
And AOC said, this is a deeply cynical and disgusting attack as the Capitol complex was stormed and people were being killed, which is true. That happened. None of us knew in the moment what areas were compromised. So now she doesn't know. You previously told reporters that you barricaded in your office, afraid you'd be hurt. So maybe they're both liars. I don't know. But AOC, there's a clip of her going around. I'll find it from Ian Miles Chong. Actually, we can't play the audio, so it's fine. But she said that she heard the protesters banging on her door. That just didn't happen.
No,
so now
she's completely full of it. No, she's completely full of it.
So here she's saying we didn't know where they were, but at the same time they were knocking on your door. You have to hope. Come on, AOC, you're smarter than that. But I don't know.
I got a bone to pick with this. I mean, the way that the media and the left, of course, are using this word insurrectionist. It's always with the language, right? Like ever since, asymptomatic, meaning a healthy person, and cisgender, meaning a normal person, and just racist. And I mean, it's always with this hyperbolic wording. And of course, they throw it all the way back at Donald Trump. I mean, even though the man's gone, they talk about, the rhetoric and this and that. And it's like, you guys constantly it was a bunch of people in DC that could see clearly through your fraud. And then they call it insurrection because, of course, it would have just been called racism, but there were too many POC there.
POC, AOC, I can't keep it up. Speaking of, I shouldn't have said that. Getting over to the big coronavirus stuff, because you've taught me stuff before we went on air here that I didn't know existed. But before we get to that, for those who aren't aware, in Canada, we're having a bit of a crisis here where if you try to return home, you get put in a minimum security prison while you wait for your test results. Because we have the crappy tests that take up to 3 days still. We don't have the, first world testing capabilities. So for up to 3 days at your own expense, $2,000 or more, you are put in a minimum security prison, which is actually a hotel. To be completely honest, it's a hotel that they've retrofitted to be like a prison. So now there's guards outside there. There's fencing around some of them, most of them. You can't open the window. You can't leave your room. And you get crappy meals as if you were in a minimum security prison. You know, when people always say, hey, look at this Norway or Danish prison cell. Looks pretty nice. It's pretty much the same thing. It's pretty much the same thing as that Norwegian prison cell. So you have to wait there until your test comes back negative. And if you don't, then you could go to jail. They're saying that you have to go here or you have to go to jail. I highly doubt they would bring people to jail. I'm not sure that makes any sense. And they're security guards that they hired to do this. There's no way in hell I'm letting a security guard drag me away somewhere, first of all. But it's completely insane. So what one of our cameramen did today, you look like you have a question on your mind.
Well, I do, because here, obviously the Democratic powers that be are saying, okay, it's pretty much over. Now, of course, they're contradicting themselves with this wear to mask thing, and the vaccine doesn't work. But they're also opening up the schools and opening up the shopping centers and opening up the restaurants. So where is the science? I mean, you guys, America's hat up there seems to be going the opposite direction. What's going on?
Yeah, we're getting worse now. The province of Alberta is allegedly reopening restaurants for indoor dining on Monday, even though they're currently telling a guy they're going to imprison him for opening his restaurant. So that's interesting. But where I live, it's still getting worse. The city of Toronto just extended its lockdown measures until June. So, by the way, he might have family in Florida. By the way, he's got a mansion in Palm Beach Springs, Florida, and there's a bunch of vehicles there. We videotaped a bunch of vehicles there. So somebody probably, I can't make any claims yet, but somebody's been at his house, which would be hilarious because he's the mayor of Toronto, who also forgave the finance minister for going on vacation when he wasn't supposed to. So what I was getting to here is there is, and we'll just go ahead and full screen it. There is an exemption in place. So all these people have to come. They have to quarantine when they come to Canada. But there is an exemption in place for who? Temporary foreign workers. So what ended up happening today was our cameraman went down there, and then this is what he finds. So this is the Toronto airport. Bunch of people coming home, obviously. And what also looks like a lot of Mexican people, because I'm not just assuming. A couple people were asked with where they're from. They said Mexico, but those seem to be people who are working in a larger capacity. Maybe they're in charge of these groups. But our cameraman Mocha went onto this bus where nobody's wearing masks. They're clearly not socially distanced, and he said, "Are you guys travelers or are you workers?" And they said workers. So these are clearly the workers that don't have to abide by social distancing or quarantining, assumedly because the federal government doesn't really care. Because they're not their citizens, they can probably just shove them in a hotel without them getting in trouble for that. So there goes a school bus full of people. And I believe what happens next is, this guy's going to come out and he's going to say, "Why are you guys recording?" with his sweet mask and visor combo. And then he just says, "Oh, I'm media, I'm press." And he's like, "Okay, fine." And he walks away. Wow. The airport is dead other than what appears to be a bunch of temporary foreign workers coming home. Yeah, I've been conditioned. They're coming to our country to work while everybody else cannot work. Let's bring in, and I feel bad for them. Obviously it's probably good that they get to come here and work from their point of view, but I also feel bad for them because the government doesn't seem to care about their health. If they care about everybody's health, then why don't these guys have to quarantine or anything? So right now, David Menzies, national treasure, in his masks don't do anything mask, is asking this guy where he's from. He says he's from Mexico. Asked him if he's working. He's like, yes. And he's like, do you have to do the quarantine? And he says yes, which is confusing. So I'm guessing he's just a businessman. He's doing management. I don't know. Maybe he's in charge of some of these people. A lot of assumptions are being made here, but all these people here are not from Canada. And I think that's pretty obvious the way they're all shuttling onto a bus. And these guys who are going on the nicer bus are wearing masks and everything, whereas possibly low-level workers were not doing that at all. Your thoughts, okay, Eric?
That is creepy as hell. So, okay, my first question is, now when your cameraman there, when he says, "Oh, I'm media," and the guy immediately, okay, hands off, is that to assume that you're not allowed to record things outside of an airport, like with an iPhone?
Well, we talked about this today, and what I believe it is it's public property, but it's also federal property. So if they tell you're allowed to be there, you're allowed to record, but if you do something and they tell you you're trespassing, then you're supposed to leave. So from what I understand, there was a confrontation that happened later that I imagine will be revealed on a show with a much larger audience than ours.
All right, copy that. And then my second question is, what industry are these guys coming to work in?
I'd have to imagine agriculture because people got to get fed, and there's been several outbreaks through this whole pandemic of coronavirus at farms, at people picking crops and stuff like that. So it's crazy that people aren't allowed to work here, but we're bringing in temporary foreign workers who undoubtedly get paid less, and clearly the government doesn't have the same standard for their health. But I guess it's all fine, Eric. I guess it's all fine.
So this kind of, I mean, that's really, really quite creepy. I mean, to me, maybe I'm, jumping well over the line into theories or whatever. But that to me seems like they are trying to create this permanent underclass of people that are gonna work for cheaper, and they're clearly they're not as concerned with their health as they are the people of Toronto or the people of Canada, and it's that's weird. That's really
It's
strange.
very weird and it's strange. And our prime minister is starting to talk in like these weird, you will be taken to this government approved facility where you must also pay. Like they just came out with a study that said they accidentally paid almost $700 million to teenagers. The COVID relief funding, which is called CERB up here, CERB, and for people 15 to 17 years old, they accidentally gave them $700 million in total. You're not getting that back. You're not getting it back from the people who were on the list who are adults who weren't supposed to get the money. So you're definitely not getting any of this money. It's crazy right now. So you're not getting this $2,000 from people, I don't think, or else they'd probably be staying where they're at.
I
Now
heard
you
something
were
about that in
mm-hmm.
California as well. I don't know too much about it, but there was some sort of glitch, some sort of mistake out in California where prisoners and unqualified people were all getting checks, and then the woman responsible for it out in California, of course, is getting a promotion into the Biden administration. Very strange stuff.
Yeah, we got a couple. We got some weird questions in the chat here. Free Speech Media, who I think I know who that is, probably not, but using OBS or StreamYard, neither.
They got a tech question there. All right. And even to the conversation at all. Just worried about the equipment.
Yeah, which streaming service are you using? So you were telling me about this, and this is hilarious. So you want to explain this? Cases of COVID arm falling vaccination?
Well, okay. I'll be honest with you. I don't know too much about it. I literally read that like 20 minutes before we went live here. And it just seems like they're dragging this on and on and on. So my hunch, and I hope this is right, that this sort of COVID toe, COVID tongue, and COVID arm, the more they drag this along, it's really going to start to wake some people up, and they're going to say, "Wait, okay, enough." Like you told me
well,
that
this is from the vaccine, isn't it?
Yeah. So of course, even when you got the vaccine, they told you that there was going to be some soreness at the site of the injection, and then Fauci had his little mishap if he doesn't know which arm he's getting shot in, or if it was a reverse camera or whatever. So I don't really know what to make of it, but I do know that on this same note, we have
COVID toe.
Yeah, dude, it's insane.
People infected with COVID-19 who are asymptomatic or pre-symptomatic. How can you be pre-symptomatic? It doesn't make any sense at all. Are estimated to account for more than 50% of transmissions, according to the CDC. COVID toes is one of the following symptoms. COVID toes are a symptom that can appear at any age, but appears most often in children, teens, and young adults. COVID toes refers to swelling and discoloration that can develop in the toes and fingers. Purplish. So basically what? It gives you circulation problems if you get COVID. And then there's this other one you mentioned, COVID tongue.
Yeah.
Swelling tongues research. I mean, people said that they lost their ability to taste. Maybe that goes along with it. But the fear is nonstop.
It's nonstop. And as this is happening, though,
that's gross.
They're telling you, I believe it was today. It was either today or yesterday. Our circle back redhead saying that Yeah, even if you get the vaccine, you still have to social distance and you still have to do masks. And Jesse Waters from Fox News, he suggested that type of rhetoric would wake people up. Now, I mean, do you believe that to be true? Because I think people are more likely to say, okay, COVID tongue, COVID toe, blah blah blah, and eventually they're going to be like, well, you told me I was going to die a year ago. What happened? Like, how long are they going to drag this on? Is this going to be like climate change? That's what it sounds like. It's going to be like this forever. I mean, the left has been telling us that the sky is falling and the sun monster is coming to get us for decades now. So when do people wake up to this? Never? Is this it?
I think people are finally, now that it's never ending, people are starting to, the way, this is an anecdote, but the amount of people that have started messaging me from high school, from college, friends from back in the day, I can name some of them that thought differently 2 or 3 months ago about everything. One of my friends said, "Oh, Andrew, you're not anti-mask, are you?" Because he saw me covering one of the rallies. I was like, it's not an anti-mask rally, first of all. But regardless, 3 months later, he was just like, I don't trust either political party anymore. So people are messaging me who never messaged me before saying, thanks for doing what you're doing. This shit's got to end. One friend messages me today, says, please find out who is at that mayor's house. Somebody else is messaging me saying this is ridiculous. One of my friends is posting stuff about how ridiculous the NBA is. I think I talked about that. How they wouldn't let them exchange jerseys, even though they're rubbing and sweating on each other.
Dude,
it's pretty insane.
I can't stand those guys. Because they are. If you remember, I mean, do you remember the beginning of this when Tom Hanks had it? And Kevin Durant had it, and the whole crew over at CNN, Brooke Baldwin and Fredo Cuomo and Anderson. I don't know if Anderson Cooper, but a handful of these guys. It was so clearly. I mean, I never bought it from the beginning because I just I was too deep in the political landscape. You could see it, like it was so easy to see at the beginning, and now watching this go on for a year is just like, how? If it hasn't happened yet, if people haven't woken up to it yet, then I don't think it's ever going to happen. I mean, look, I'm here in South Dakota, and you don't really see people doing the mask thing. It's just so funny how it is so extreme. I mean, you can't leave your house in New York City without somebody telling you to put on a mask. You guys are doing the crazy, low minimum security prison thing. But
we're in dead last for freedom.
Yeah, so how can it be that different everywhere? But surprise, surprise, it's the same in California and New York where these corrupt Democrats have rule. I mean, it doesn't add up. It doesn't.
We got some questions coming in. Super chat, you guys. It's only $2. Come on now. Nicole says, you know what also makes you lose taste buds? A cold or flu. That's true, but it's illegal to say that now. That's why we have the COVID warning. It absolves us of the risk, apparently. Apparently, if you put a warning and tell people this goes against what mainstream media says, then you're safe. I'm glad I knew about the warning, frankly.
Like the little parental advisory on your old rap albums.
Exactly. Mr. Krakovian says, hi, Andrew. Can I see your feet? Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and bring up my foot right here. Oh, look, it's a Mike Tyson book. I was just hoping to see your feet and fornicate with your feet. These things I can't really get into it right now, but I can't be showing you my feet, not unless I fornicate with you first.
Oh my God.
Weird question, Mr.
Wait,
CCP.
can I just say something about the
You can go ahead.
Oh no, about the first question about losing your taste with the flu and a cold, right? That's what I feel like we spoke about this kind of in a sense last week, is that now they're talking about these new variants and these new strains, but isn't the virus just a new strain of the flu? So
no, it's a strain of coronavirus, which is a thing that's usually found in animals, but I'm trying to find don't worry though, the fear is there. There is something I saw today that had 100,000 views on our state broadcasting corporation.
AJ just come out.
The state broadcaster, they're trying to put fear in all the patriots, and they're talking about new strains of coronavirus, and there's no escape. Basically, it was like Canada hitting with waves of new coronaviruses by the day, and it's like, holy shit, just calm down. Like you've got like, do you have no shame on your fearometer, CBC News, where you're just like, maybe we should wait to see, because the numbers are going down. They're going to say the lockdowns are working, just like they're drastically going down in the States. Somehow, now that Biden's in, and somehow now that they've changed the testing requirements, it's all hell. Here's a funny one that I want to comment on. This can all be solved if the Patriot rises up and commits a citizen's arrest on Dr. Theresa Tam to save Canada from communism. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. I get emails that says, how come you didn't cover us citizen arresting Justin Trudeau? Because it didn't happen. You're going to get tackled by the RCMP. They tried to do this in, I believe, a city called Burlington, Ontario, where like hundreds of people stood outside their city hall and tried to arrest the mayor. I could be wrong with that. I'll try to look it up in a second. But this fantasy land where you're a sovereign citizen and you can cite. Avi Yemeni told myself and others, I don't want to act like I was being like, hey, Avi, we're talking, but we do sometimes. But he was saying how people in Australia are actually going to court in full confidence and being like, don't worry, bro, I'm going to cite the Magna Carta, and no laws since the Magna Carta will supersede what I'm about to say. And of course, they're losing in their trial because they're trying to cite what hundreds-year-old legal doctrine, as if there isn't like new precedent set and superseding. This is the same thing. You're not just going to go up and citizens arrest the prime minister of the damn country. Try getting close to it. Don't try, please. Actually, don't try.
Don't try it.
Okay.
It might be nicer to you in Canada than they will here. I mean, you see what's protecting Joe Biden, right? They hated walls until they needed a wall.
And this guy's asking for more feet photos. Bro, if that's your bit and it's funny to ask people for feet photos, then I guess it's a funny bit. But if you're serious, I mean, get some help, I guess. I'm trying to look up the citizen's arrest here. Oh, there we go. Okay, I found it. This is why it doesn't work, you guys. Burlington mayor. Protesters failed to place Burlington mayor under citizen arrest. 75 people. And this is exactly what I was talking about. And don't forget to get your Hypersoft shoes. Yeah, so they all stood around and they demanded the mayor be citizens arrested. And this lady right here, I believe, she's just like, I have the documents here that say it's legal. And I imagine maybe let's go as high as 75% of the people here believe that the restrictions are too much. They're going too far. It's a very small town. I doubt they have a lot of coronavirus cases because most of them are listed. 70% of these people are just like, yeah, we need to stop these restrictions. They don't make any sense. Why won't you help us out? Our businesses are dying. But then you have the people who are just like, I've brought my research. And a woman called our office today because we forward this stuff to the journalists, so everyone tends to hear about it. And she's just like, I have a 6,000 page document on my website. How come you haven't looked at it yet? And I'm just like, this person claimed that they've had constant interactions with the police, and it's just like, why don't you record this? Why don't you record your constant assaults by police? They said all this stuff, like the government's trying to hit her with cars and stuff, all this stuff. And just like this woman who has, and I'm sorry if this wasn't the actual woman, but I know a woman in this video here did this. Well, there you go. Declaration of arrest. So I have the documents.
Yo, can we get those? We need to do that to de Blasio. I don't know.
It's just not going to happen is the point. Like, let's get some fucking reasonable stuff here. Now, you wanted to
wait, just okay, de Blasio though. I mean, I spent a couple days way back in the summer interviewing New Yorkers. I mean, I'm talking about 60-year-old, right-wing Republicans, 20-year-old communists, and everybody in between. Literally like 2 days of work, and not one of them had anything good to say about Bill de Blasio. But nobody, I mean, at least the Californians are trying to recall Newsom. But in New York, nobody seems to be doing anything about those awful politicians, and I can't figure out why.
I don't know. It's at some point you have to be like, you voted for this, so I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Did they though? And now we know. I mean, think about. I mean, after everything we've seen, I'm not completely sold that people really did vote for that. Now, obviously,
I'm not sold on any of it anymore.
De Blasio probably wasn't as bad when he got elected, but I mean, he's taken. I mean, like quite literally turned the entire city into a garbage dump. But now we've gotten off track. What were you? We were moving on, and then I backtracked.
We're moving on, but we got another question from it's not Foot Guy. So, Andrew, you should talk to Ezra about hiring David Freiheit of Viva Frei, bilingual rebel in Canada East region. I mean, so I didn't know who that was. I've heard of the channel, but apparently it's this guy. If he's monetized, then he does not need us. If he's got a why would you work for somebody when you make your own money is my point. He has Subscribestar. Let's see how much money he makes, and then we'll be able to tell if he needs somebody to back him. 61 subscribers. So what is his first tier? $5. So he probably doesn't need a job. Sorry to tell you, but the other thing is, what makes you think I can just tell them who to hire? And I was going to tweet about this. The last couple conversations I've had with Ezra are one about the rapper Mace. He was just like, I'm old enough to remember the rapper Mace. You remember him? And I'm just like, do I remember Mace? And then I started telling him about how Mace slept with some drug dealer's wife or girlfriend. So that's why he had to flee to Florida, couldn't be a pastor. And then he came back to join G Unit, and it was just too vulgar for him. So there's that. And then otherwise, I talked to him today about Church's Chicken, and he asked me if I had a biscuit, and I haven't. We work on different sides of the building. So
I don't like churches, dude. I'm more of a. I mean, if I have to, obviously,
you don't like churches.
Chick-fil-A is the top
yes,
tier.
It is.
And then we have Popeyes, then KFC, then churches.
No
commercial.
I'm gonna say I'm putting churches for the price point of churches. It has to go above KFC and Popeyes for me. It's like you can get for like a meal for $12 from churches, and you're not getting that one of those places. You told me last week that a man arrested allegedly setting fire to his own property. You want to talk about this?
Well, I just thought this was I saw it on the New York Post Instagram. And it was funny to me because not the fact that this guy set fire to his own building, but the sort of zombie robot sheep New Yorkers in the comment section talking about, well, this guy, he's putting lives in danger, and he just doesn't want to wear a mask. And it's like, dude, can't you tell how desperate this man is, that his business has been shut down for a year? And this is the politicians, the crooked, corrupt Democrats of New York, literally turning the city back to what it was in the 70s, well before my time. But you hear the stories about the Bronx is burning, and burned out cars in the South Bronx, and people doing all sorts of crazy things to collect on insurance. And I just thought, nobody can see the desperation of this man, that his life is probably falling apart because they want to tell him that he should be wearing a mask. And I just thought that was really bizarre.
I think the best explanation for New York is the Gotham City approach. They want to just buy it all up, and they don't care. There's going to be this terrible underbelly of people who are like this. Queens restaurant owner, shout out King of Queens, was busted for starting several small fires in his own eatery, likely due to financial woes amid the pandemic. Asif Raja, 54 of New Jersey, allegedly used a flammable liquid to set multiple fires inside the Ignited restaurant. Ignited Restaurant and Lounge? His place is called Ignited? That is, oh man, on Steinway Street near 30th Avenue in Astoria the night of August 4th. So there's a video of it. Let's see if we refresh this page if it has the actual video.
That's why it's funny, because his own cameras caught his own crime in his own restaurant.
That's probably not smart. Oh, so now we don't want to play. I see how it is. There we go. Climbing up the stairs. Or the ladder, I mean, to what set his own fire. It's interesting that the fire department gets the video of this. So what, is he setting the lights on fire? Why would you use a flammable liquid? Why wouldn't you just like bust open a gas? I'm going to get fucking sued for saying I'm inciting this. But why wouldn't you do this in a more or less obvious way?
I don't know.
He's just going around pouring liquid. Does he think that they can't figure this stuff out? People have been fighting fires for like 200 years.
Yeah. I mean, can you like now? Maybe this is a bit insensitive, but like, couldn't he just like hire some Brooklyn goons or something? Like, get like don't do it yourself, bro. Like, go down the Flatbush.
Yeah, really. Turn off your own cameras.
Yeah. Or... pay. You could go pay a thug in Brooklyn to take the 7 train, and do it for you.
This one's color. I mean, it's hard if this wasn't due to coronavirus. If this wasn't due to coronavirus, I'd have far less sympathy.
It's raining outside.
And he sets it on fire in the night that it's raining. Oh my god.
I hadn't.
Are you familiar with the fact? Are you familiar with the fact that I believe it's in New York, probably Chicago too, that fire halls used to be like independent, so they would have turf wars over putting out each other's fires because they'd only get paid for putting out fire. Like they'd get paid per job, I guess you could call it.
I did.
So they would. So firefighting halls would have turf wars and like fuck with each other's trucks, slash their tires and stuff, so that they could fight the fire and get paid for it, probably by the city, I'd imagine, but still.
No, I had no idea about that. I always just assumed it was like, ladder 157 or whatever was designated for this neighborhood. And, I have no idea how it goes. It's just like, it's really sad, though, that this guy, like, I mean, so now not only is your restaurant ruined, you are facing charges and you have made no money back.
Correct, and you're guilty of crimes now. Can't set fire to your own business. You can't attempt to commit suicide. You can't do things of self-harm because it costs services to attend to these things. There was a pipe burst in my building today. And the first question our social media guy had, because he works remote, is like, is that a Georgia voting scandal you guys are trying to pull there?
Exactly, bro. Like that was people forget all the irregularities that happened. I mean, even if you go all the way back to the Iowa caucus, that was of course their rehearsal for ruining the voting system, right? I mean, remember when Pete Buttigieg declared himself the winner, and then his husband was I don't know what weird connection they had to the voting system they were supposed to be using back there, but these people are so clearly corrupt that, I try not to get too dark and too negative about the whole situation and pessimistic, but it's clear to me that the corruption runs so deep that do you think next time, you think 2022 in the midterms or 2024 in the next presidential election, the Democrats are just going to step back and say, all right, we're going to play fair this time? Obviously not. They know.
No, but I think that people are going to be so on them in these cities that, like, I would hope that if anything seems suspicious at all, people are just going to barge in there. Apparently, they're willing to barge into the Capitol, so why wouldn't you just barge into a voting center? I don't know how it ends. But here's the COVID hotel which is by the airport that I showed you. This also happened today. This is a woman with a megaphone. She is calling out. So now you'll see right here, you can't open these windows. First thing they told us, though, when our camera people went there, is that this is just closed for construction, you guys. Meanwhile, there's people waving from the windows. So this is a really dystopian video here where people are waving from their de facto prison cells. We've got 1, 2, 3 more people. Everybody's looking out, and it looks so sad. And then this hotel is owned by China, by the way, by the state of China. So we've got this woman. This is like a notorious protester. She's always like in the streets and stuff. with her megaphone, in her words, trying to wake people up. But I think this is a good thing that she's doing here. But she is encouraging them to come outside. I'm not sure if they can do that without getting arrested anymore. Somebody just left the first time, but as you can see now, there's hella cops just standing there, which is kind of crazy. So it's really sad. And like I said, yes, I did. And it's really sad. And like I mentioned, Radisson Hotel, as you can see, the logo there, and then it's at the top of the building, is actually owned by a consortium, which is owned by the Tourism Board of Shanghai, which is the government of China. So the government of China owns a hotel that is contracted by the government to withhold Canadians against their will. It's so insane. We're really sliding here, Eric. We're really sliding into the communism really quickly.
Yeah. Where'd you go, dude?
I'm still here.
Well, I don't know. It's all turned all black. I don't know. I can't see anything now. Can you?
It still looks fine. You're the one who's glitching out, I think.
Oh, well, what's throwing me off? I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, is that I will say, as bad and maybe again insensitive as this sounds, it doesn't make me feel quite so bad, because to see that, I mean, it means we're going to get there shortly, right? I mean, Beijing Biden is his name, right? So eventually we are going to be China, and we'll be right there with you. But for now, you guys are definitely a step ahead in the race to communism.
It's pretty spectacular what we've done here in such a short period of time. Oh, man. I can't imagine what it'd be like if I wasn't allowed to work. I mean, I go to work and nothing changed for me. I've been going to work the whole time. I get my fancy paid for lunches. I don't have I've never been ticketed. I could just imagine if you're one of these people who just wants to work and you're getting ticketed. And the stuff with the masks is kind of in your own hands. I get if you want to wear the mask to avoid the hassle, but nobody's really going to stop you if you don't wear a mask. You just have to stand up for yourself and stand up for your rights, frankly. And a lot of the stuff that they're doing, they're just hoping people are going to comply. Yeah. And it's going to take like 2 years for any of this stuff to hit the courts, unless you get it fast-tracked somehow. And it's going to get thrown out. You can't. The emergency orders have to abide by the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which is our lackluster Constitution. We didn't have 1776. But it says right on top of the emergency orders, it has to be in compliance with the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So you can't just be like, oops, sorry, it's time to do this. And something I keep reiterating is I might be in favor of some of this stuff, the movie military scenario, if we had a flesh-eating virus out there, or if China was literally invading, World War 15, space war, something like that, alien invasion. But for a virus that kills 99 or does not kill 99.5% of people, it just doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry.
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. And like I said, is that it was, at the beginning, I thought it was all obviously political. But now it's bigger than Donald Trump. Like, this is so overbearing. It's absolutely insane, and I just truly can't understand how anybody, more than high school age, can't see through it.
I don't know. There are some kids that go to the protests here. I think it's pretty weird. There's like a teenage girl who videotapes stuff. I don't approve of bringing your children to political events, but it's who they want. And the schools are still mostly closed here, so they get their fake online learning in because the teachers don't want to work. So it's the motives here grow more confusing as the days go on. And today, I should find that before we go here. Prepare your piece for your book here. But our premier, which is the American equivalent to a governor, out of all this stuff, that people are going nuts about, they decided that this is a good time to experiment with this, you guys. As part of our Ontario Onwards action plan, our government has launched public consultations on digital ID. Share your input on how we shape the future of service delivery and makes vital programs and services simpler, more convenient to you. And our logo is just your finger being scanned. Just give us your fingerprints, Eric. That's
I
all.
saw that.
Just give the government your fingerprint.
That's so creepy. I mean, these are this is literally what the Alex Jones types, the anti-vax types, the more like the people that were literally considered extreme a year ago is now all happening.
Yes, it's a sad state of affairs. So how? Yeah,
like
Bill Gates.
Who? It's
He's in charge now, Eric. Deal with it.
And he's like, I saw this clip. I saw this clip of him just the other day where he's like, yeah, me and Dr. Fauci have been the target of some conspiracies and some weirdos. And it's like, dude, you are a weirdo, bro. Like,
they're both weird.
Sorry, it's mind-boggling how this computer guy is now the doctor of the world. I just don't understand it.
All right, before we go here, tell everybody where to get your book.
Well, the book will be available.
Oh my God!
At all major retailers. Hang on.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
I'll be honest with you. I had to make a couple changes, so we did have to push it back. As you could see, or maybe I don't know if you could see here.
Is that a hard cover?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So wait, you got a distribution deal to go in every bookstore or what?
Well, it comes with the publishing deal that I made with this company called Gatekeeper Press.
That's pretty cool, dog.
Yeah, so they are responsible for getting it onto shelves, putting it on Amazon, everything. But like I said,
the cover gets me every time.
There's I have to add the title and my name to the spine, which I don't know how that got. I don't know if it was me I forgot to mention or forgot to fill out the form properly or something, or if it was their fault. I truly don't know. And there's a couple pages in here that are just not exactly what I wanted. So unfortunately, I have to push it back a little bit. But just know I'm working hard on it, and it's all happening.
It's gonna get leaked like a Drake album. Every single, and here's something good to end on, Eric. You guys are awesome. Do it in my Justin Trudeau voice. All Canadians think that you're awesome. Please keep it up. And if you don't, you'll be going to prison at your expense. Thank you. Look at my socks. All right, Eric. It's like a 1950s radio mic here.
I know. I got it, dude. For the record, I might be embarking on a little adventure here shortly, so I'll be able to bring some new content to the table here, hopefully. But yeah, always a good time. Let's do it again next week.
Sure, and we're gonna start employing some new guests and crap too, because it was fun when we brought Dre Humphrey in. It's more fun to try. Maybe we can get some comedians or something. I'd like to say I know a couple, and then some big wigs that we're gonna try to get on. So yeah, more fun to come, you guys, and we'll try to get it on Spotify too, so people can listen to it on the way to work. I'll just listen to myself from morning till night.
Awesome, dude. Love it. Let's do it again next week.
All right. See you, everybody.